everyone. I'm Monisha from third year CSE from Sri Ramakrishna Engineering College. I welcome you all for the 2 days hands-on workshop on Git and GitHub. First of all, I would like to give a small gist about Git and GitHub. Git is a DevOps tool used for source code management. It is a free and open source version control system used to handle small to very large projects efficiently. GitHub is a web-based interface that uses Git, the open source version control software that lets multiple people make separate challenges to web page at the same time. It helps in building our profile and also helps in team collaborations. Now it's time to welcome our chief guest, Ms. Ankita Saloni. She'll be handling the upcoming 2 sessions on Git and GitHub. She is a pre-final year student of CSE and an enthusiastic developer, community builder, hackathon aficionado, and an author. She loves mentoring, public speaking, building projects, participating in hackathons, working on product management, and strategies. Her aim is to make technologies accessible for everyone, and she is working towards building diverse and inclusive communities. I am very happy to welcome you, ma'am. I request Ms. Ankita to take over the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Monisha, for such a warm introduction.
Thank you,
Hello
ma'am.
everyone. Hello everyone. So we are here for a 2 day session on Git and GitHub, and I hope that this session will add values to your technical knowledge, and you'll be able to learn more about the opportunities in open source and how you can delve deeper into it. So without wasting any longer time, let's get started. So let us begin our journey to open source, and it is a beginner friendly session for all the open source enthusiasts. For those who don't know me, my name is Ankita Saloni. I'm a pre-final year computer science student at Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology. I'm also the DSC lead and a Generation Google Scholar for year 2021. And besides that, I'm also a GitHub campus expert who loves mentoring students and participating in hackathons. So the topics that we'll be covering today are open source, addressing what, why, and how, Git and GitHub, how to get started with that, terms that you should know, and then gearing up for Hacktoberfest. Let's start with a quote. In real open source, you have the right to control your own destiny. So you might be wondering what is the reason behind this quote. The reason is that open source is something that's really powerful. You can collaborate, you can do new things, you can, the whatever you do, whatever you put on there, the whole world can see. People can collaborate with you. You can learn from other people who are doing great in their fields, and it's all without any hassle. Anything that you wish to achieve can be achieved through open source. So let's talk about the open source. So first of all, what is open source? The open source software is software with source code that anyone can inspect, modify, and enhance. The programmers who have access to a computer's program source code can improve that program by adding features to it or fixing parts that don't always work correctly. So let us decode it that way. For example, that instead of writing code, let us assume that you're writing an essay. It might be possible that it have some mistakes or something that might not catch your attention at that moment of time. If it's public, people can read that essay. Those who might agree with you, they can write their comments on the same. Others can criticize you. Other can, make changes. They can address it. They can do multiple things with that. In the very same way, the open source softwares can do it as well. The only difference is that here you are playing with code instead of the long essays, words, sentences structure. It's all replaced by the syntax of code. So, in the open source software, anyone can suggest changes to your code, anyone can inspect, anyone can see what you are doing, what you are building, how efficient is that, what is your tech stack, what is something that you are working with, what are the issues that you are currently fixing, or something that you might need help with. People can collaborate with you, you can add other collaborators, and much more. So, another important question: why open source? The reason is that it has multiple advantages and benefits. The first thing is build. You can build anything and put it online for the world to see. It can be your portfolio, it can be your project, it can be any web-based project, it can be an app, it can be a machine learning model, anything that you want to build. You can put it there and you can invite people's comment that what they think about your project. The second thing is collaborate. Let us assume that there is a person X who's currently building a machine learning project, and you are a beginner in machine learning. You want to see what the people are doing. So you came across person X's project and you like it. You want to, but you feel that there is something that can be improved. There can be a feature or a documentation or a bug that you want to resolve, anything. So, what you can do, you can just send a request and you can collaborate with that person over that project. Isn't it simple? Then improve. Since you'll be coming up across hundreds and hundreds of projects that are that are on GitHub, GitLab, or any such platform. So it will open your mind to a plethora of opportunities, ideas, and any possibility. It will enhance your creativity and innovation factors. You might get inspired by someone's project. You might feel that this is a feature that you need to put in your own project. You might just look into awe to someone's portfolio and you wish to build your own. So all these things will help you to improve and will motivate you to create something like that. And last but not the least one, empower. Let us say you started your journey as a mentee. After many years and a lot of experiences, you might be at some position where you will be able to mentor a lot of people who are like you or who resonate with your past self. So it's a wonderful quote that be the mentor you needed when you were a mentee. In the same way, you can empower lots and lots of people whom you feel that might need a mentor or might need some guidance or some resources. Open source is for the people, by the people, and with the efforts of these people. So this is how you can unlock the real potential of open source. So let's talk about Git. So, Git is a software for tracking changes in any set of files, usually used for coordinating work among programmers collaboratively developing source code during software development. Its goals include speed, data integrity, and support for distributed nonlinear workflows. So, basically, mm, Let us take an example of a paragraph that let's assume that we are talking about Microsoft Word. Someone wrote an essay in that. I reviewed the essay and then I felt that there might be something that needs some sort of modification. I made the changes and I saved the essay. When I revisit that essay, the modified one, I might not be able to see what are the changes that I've made and what is something that I've modified or what was the earlier version of that. This was an essay, so things might not be that complicated. But when it comes to code, it might be disastrous. What if I put something in the code and it stopped working? It will be really terrible. So, for that, we need to keep a track of every change that has been made, plus by whom, and what is the exact change. Like, what was the previous version and what is the later version. Git helps in tracking all these changes in a very efficient way. It will tell you what was the file where the change was made, where that file is located, at what line the change was made, what was the exact change that was made, and it was made by whom at what moment of time. You can also see what was the previous version and what was the later version. So that if in later version there is a problem or there is a issue, you can just restore the previous version and you're good to go. Now, why Git? You can collaborate with lots and lots of people. Like if you want to collaborate in an offline method, let us assume that Git is not in the picture. You are here and your friend is like 30s and 40s kilometer away. You want to collaborate with him on some project, but let us assume it's 30 to 40 years ago. In the worst case possible, you guys have to travel all the way to meet each other, then discuss, then make changes on each other's computer. And in that case also, if you need to transfer the data, let's not forget that it's not the era of pen drives. It was not era of pen drives 30 to 40 years ago. So a lot of hard drives, floppy disk, and whatnot. It will be really messed up. But now, at the comfort of your own place, you can collaborate with friends who are hundreds and thousands of kilometers away with a single click. The changes you have made here, the same will be reflected at their side. What's better than this? Then it's easy to manage. You have access to all the directories and you can see at which directory what file is placed. It's not messed up that you have to look for all the files and all the changes that have been made. It has been done in a very, very, very structured way. Then share on the go. You push some changes, you made changes to documentation, whatever you did, share on the go. Don't need to carry those hard files, hard copies, or lot of messed up things. Just made it, push it, and let it happen. So before entering deeper into open source and Git and GitHub, let us take a review of some of the words, some of the terms that you might need in order to become familiar with this. Like there are few terms that you should know before getting started with it so that you won't end up scratching your head while contributing to open source. So the first one is repo, which is also known as repository. It is a directory where you can keep your code files along with all the text and images. So basically, let us say it's a box in which you are putting all your code files, all the images, all the text files, any such thing that you will need in your project, you can put it in there. The next is branch. The branches allow you to develop features, fix bugs, or safely experiment with new ideas in a contained area of your repository. So, as I said, let us assume we are working on the main branch. A new intern is there. We hired a new intern and asked him or her to make some changes to the code base. So as we know, the interns are quite intimidated people and usually scared where they might go wrong and where they might not. So the intern pushed some changes that caused the entire system to break because it was a main branch. But what if I say that there is another option available where you can branch the entire code and you can make changes there? If it works, you can just merge it together, and if it does not, no harm caused. So the branches allow you to experiment with the code, allows you to make changes, allows you to do any such thing that you want to do, be it the documentation part or the enhancement part or the bug fixing part. You are free to experiment safely because any changes that you make in the branch part, they won't affect the main code. They won't affect the entire workflow of the system until and unless they are merged together. So if you feel that it's working fine, there has been no bugs, you can safely merge it. Otherwise, just let it be. Cloning is quite important as it allows you to create a local copy of the code that has been provided by the developer. You can clone let there is a project that you really like and you want to add some features to it, you want to work on it. So what you can do, you can clone that to your local machine or PC, whatever you are working on, and then you can test the changes. So for that, you need to clone, that is creating a local copy of the code. Issues, again, something very important. If people are have contributed to any open source project before, issues help you to keep a track of all the tasks, enhancement, and bugs for your projects. So basically, you can list everything. It's basically like a to-do list of things that you might need to get done with your project. Let us say I created a new project, but there has been some issues with the UI UX part, or I say the navigation bar is not working, or it's not very much responsive. There is some bug, or there is some issue in the documentation. The best way to address all of that is to create a to-do list for each and everything that you're supposed to change or you're supposed to review it. So the issues help you with that. In every issue, you have a title where you can mention what is something that needs to be done. Uh, as I said, like there is a bug in the code, so we can write there is a bug and it needs to be changed, and you can assign people or anyone who is wishing to choose that or take that issue. You can assign that person, the person will work, they'll submit a pull request containing the code that is supposed to debug that, and then you can review and merge it. Or if you feel that it's not correctly working, you can just reject it. That's why issues are important, because they help you to track what is there that needs to be done and what are the tasks that have been already done based on open issues and closed issues. Master. Following the naming convention for branches, the name of the default branch in Git is master. So it's basically the main branch in which the entire code is present, and which contains the entire workflow of the part. The main branch is known as masters, and the copies that you will create of that are known as branches. Commit. A commit is an individual change to a file or works like a snapshot of your repository. So basically, any sort of change that you make to the repository is known as a commit. For example, I've added a file introduction.txt to my project. So the change that I've made is called commit. What is the change that I've made? I've uploaded a new file, I've added a new file that is introduction.txt. The any change, Any change that you've made to your project is called a commit. It can be a single change, it can be a group of multiple changes, anything. It creates a difference between your initial project and final project, and that difference, that those number of changes are known as commits. Merge. It's a way of putting a fork history back together again when the commits are combined into one commit and merged into default branch. As I said, if someone's making a change, if someone's making any sort of change to a project, if the reviewer feels like it's going to be good, it's going to be well maintained with the project and it's going to be useful, then they can merge it. That is, putting the code that was suggested by the user or contributor to the main branch so that the new features can be added, or the documentation can be added, or the bug that can be resolved. So that is known as merge. Then pull request. Pull request let you tell others about changes you have pushed to a branch in a repository on GitHub. So this is really important in pull request. What you do, so it's a entire timeline. If you can see, it's an entire procedure that you need to follow in order to make a pull request. First, you go to some project, you fork it, you clone it, you make some changes, you make some commits, and then if you feel that it's working fine and you want all these changes in the main project, you can create a pull request. What you do in that pull request, you mention the changes that you have created. Let's say I've added the previous one. Let's say I've added the introduction.txt file. Suppose there is going to be a ceremony, graduation ceremony, and the teachers have asked the students to put their introduction file in the project so that they can felicitate them. So for that, each and every student needs to put a introduction file in the project along with their introduction. How will they do it? They'll simply add the introduction.txt file to project, and they will create a pull request in which they'll mention that I've added my introduction file into this project. If the teacher feels that it's according to the guidelines, if the file complies with all the guidelines, they'll merge it. If they feel that something is left out or some other work needs to be done, they'll ask the user or the participant to make some further changes before they can merge it finally. So now let's enter GitHub universe. So first of all, what is GitHub? GitHub is your one-stop guide for open source development. It is a distributed version control platform where users can collaborate on or adopt open source code projects, fork code, share ideas, and more. So basically, it's a platform where you can host your code, where you can make changes to it, where you can collaborate with people. So basically, it's a platform that gives you access to do anything that you want with your project besides hosting it online, whatever changes you are making. So first of all, it's of two types. The repositories that you create, they are of two types. One is public and the other one is private. In the public one, anyone can see what you are doing, what you are creating, or whatever the changes that you have done, what's the progress of your project, everything. It's basically all open. In the private one, only you can see, or the collaborators that you've added, that what you are doing, what is the project that you are working upon, what is the progress, what is the tech stack that you're using, what are the issues you're working on, things like that. So you can collaborate, you can see what others are doing, you can build together, you can host, sorry, you can you can automate a lot of stuff using GitHub. Also, if you're not really into GitHub and you're looking into its alternatives, you can try GitLab as well. Student Developer Pack. It's basically a technical treasure, and it has been designed to give students free access to the best developer tools in one place with a value of more than $200,000, which is a huge, huge amount. You get access to a lot of useful stuffs such as Canva, .tech domain, and other things. And all these things you can use to empower the technical communities at your place, for designing your portfolios, for upgrading your tech skills and technical knowledge, and much more. Plus, it also helps you to uh, experiment with things, be it software or hardware. And it's a really, really, really powerful tool if you are a student. So if you haven't, you can try it. You can put a request for it using your college official email id, that is the .edu email id that you have been provided for all the students. Now, the GitHub Campus Expert. These campus experts are generally your best friends at campus, and these are the student leaders that strive to build diverse and inclusive spaces to learn skills, share their experiences, and build projects together. So, if you want to organize a hackathon, if you want to organize an event, quiz, any technical thing, anything that might or might not be related with open source, just approach GitHub Campus Expert and they are there to help you. And if there is no GitHub campus at your campus, you can apply for the same when the applications open. Like generally, it was open throughout the year, but as of now, the applications open twice a year, where you have to fill some details of, so your basic details along with some other questions, some background essays that will give them insight about your technical skills, your leadership capabilities, and the communities that you engage with. And based on that, if you are a GitHub Campus expert, it's a really, really, really good opportunities for you to build your skills and empower the students, your fellow students that are present at the campus. Hacktoberfest. If you are not familiar with Hacktoberfest, it is called as the Festival of Open Source, which happens in October every year. Hacktoberfest is a month-long virtual festival event to celebrate open source contributions, which happens every year in October. So it's October, and the Hacktoberfest 21 is currently going on. So what you do in that, it has been designed to allow more and more people, to motivate more and more people to participate in open source and contribute to open source projects. So basically, what you do, you have to make four or more pull requests to any project that has been on any open source platform. In the previous year, due to some spamming and all, they have made some changes to the guidelines. And this year, you can contribute only to those projects which has the label Hacktoberfest approved. And if you have completed four or more pull requests, and the moment they mature, you're eligible to get the Hacktoberfest swag. So if you have not already, then it's a high time you should participate. And for that only, we are organizing the 2 days event of Git and GitHub with some hands-on practice so that all of you can participate in open source. So that was it from my side. Are there any questions that I should address as of now? Are there any questions? How to upload repository? There is an option like you can upload the entire thing. Like if that is in your system, as at your local system, you can upload it For that, you can either use the GitHub for PC version, or you can use git bash through commands. We're going to take a longer insight in it tomorrow, where we'll be doing some hands-on practice to do these things. Any other question? Can you please show practical? Yeah, this is what we are going to do tomorrow. For that, can you show a demo? Yes, Amrit, we are going to do it tomorrow in a proper hands-on session on Git and GitHub. Data science enthusiast and program work. Yeah, you can do it using Git Bash and GitHub Desktop. There is nothing you should worry about this. Any other questions?
Okay, I think there are no questions for anybody. Now, a link will be shared in the comment section. Participants kindly fill the form to receive a certificate. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to propose my vote of thanks to our guest speaker. I render my wholehearted thanks to Miss Ankita Saloni. The session was really great, which was a beginner-friendly session. We got a knowledge about introduction to open source, version control tools, and Git and GitHub. Once again, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Manisha, for inviting me this session. It was really great to host this.
Thank you for spending your time, valuable time. Then I would also like to thank the students who organized this event. And last but not least, thank you students for attending the session actively. Tomorrow we will work on Git commands for hands-on practice and discuss more about opportunities in open source such as Google Summer of Code, Outreaches, MLH, and more. Thank you all. Follow GDSC on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook to learn a lot of technical stuff. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Meet
you,
you tomorrow.
everyone. Thank you so much. Sure.